economies are all interconnected today, much more so than they were back in 2008, and that was a global financial crisis. So when this hits, it's going to be far worse than 2008, and it will sweep around the world. It doesn't have to be some problem in the United States that causes it, or any specific place. It just takes one trigger somewhere in the world.
So guys, we are here in Acapulco, Mexico. It's the Anarchapulco conference, and I'm here with Mike Maloney. He did the Hidden Secrets of Money series on YouTube, and he got like, I think 6 million views. Like, you get a tremendous audience with your videos. So, and of course
There's one video that has 6 million views. The channel has 45 million
yeah,
views.
like you get a great audience. So and of course you're a gold and silver buck. You're into precious metals, and I always wonder, like, the central banks all over the world, they print more money all over, and or they print a lot of money, but you don't see the price of precious metal goes up. So what's going on with the price of precious metal, of gold and silver?
Everything runs in waves and cycles, and there's these delay times that happen, but eventually when you look at long-term charts, gold and silver do rise to account for the expansion of the currency supply eventually. It just takes time. But right now, gold and silver are, for some mining companies, it's right at their cost of mining, but a whole lot of them, the cost of mining is higher than the current price of gold and silver. So I can prove that gold and silver are currently undervalued compared to the rest of the economy, compared to other asset classes and so on. So I believe that they eventually will rise. I never give any advice to anybody, but I just bought quite a bit of silver just 2 weeks ago again. So.
Okay, great. So, and of course, many people, they talk about the monetary system here, and they say, okay, it's going to crash soon. So, when will it crash? What do you think? I don't know, but what I do know is that the things they did, you know, Alan Greenspan lowered interest rates after the NASDAQ crashed in 2000. And there's unintended consequences when you manipulate an economy. And when he took interest rates down too low, and he created currency, and he held interest rates very low for a long period of time, and accidentally created a real estate bubble. And he didn't even see it. He didn't see that he was the cause of the real estate bubble that then caused the 2008 global financial crisis. Yes.
So it's these people manipulating things that stores energy that is then released when the free market finally overwhelms it. Now, Ben Bernanke took interest rates down to 0, and they were held there for many years, and he took the base currency in the United States, the paper dollars that exist, or the deposits that the commercial banks have at the Federal Reserve. He took those from 0.8 trillion, because there was 825 billion that existed before the crisis of 2008, to 4.2 trillion, basically creating 600, it took 200 years to go from no dollars in existence to 0.8 trillion, and only 6 years to go from 0.8 to 4.2 trillion.
Yeah,
well,
crazy.
that means that he printed about 600 years worth of currency in 6. Now, the energy from that has not been released yet. It will be in the next economic downturn, and we're currently in the second longest economic expansion in U.S. history. There have been 47 economic expansions and recessions. And so the odds of this going along much longer are very, very low. So I think within the next year, 2 years at the most, you are going to see something happen in the world. And it doesn't matter whether it starts here or whether it starts in China, or Australia, New Zealand, and Canada have immense real estate bubbles going on. Europe, northern Italy has been having bank failures.
The target too.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of problems in the world. Economies are all interconnected today, much more so than they were back in 2008, and that was a global financial crisis. So when this hits, it's going to be far worse than 2008. And it will sweep around the world, and it doesn't have to start, and it doesn't have to be some problem in the United States that causes it, or any specific place. It just takes one trigger somewhere in the world.
Okay.
And that's when you're going to see gold and silver unleashed. And I also believe you're going to see cryptocurrencies rise.
Okay, great. So, yeah, if or when somebody has $1,000 to invest to prepare for economic crisis, where would you invest it? What would you recommend?
I never give advice to anybody. All I do is I tell people what I do.
Yeah.
And my only investments, my largest position is in precious metals, but I also own some cryptocurrencies. And so that's what I've done, is precious metals and cryptocurrencies, and that's it. I don't own any stocks anymore. I haven't for quite a few years. I have no other investments. I've got a piece of property, but that's about it. So.
Okay, one last question. So the politicians then talk that they want to crack down on cryptocurrencies, like Merkel and Macron. They want to talk about it at the G20 summit.
Yeah.
What kind of regulations do you expect?
Well, they're all scared. They're shaking in their boots because there's some wave of freedom coming at them that they can't control, and so they're going to try their best to do all of this regulation, and there's going to be some of the cryptocurrencies and the exchanges and so on that obey this, but I don't know what kind of regulation. They're going to try and make it conform to all the rules that all the other financial assets go through. But the problem is with cryptocurrencies is right now, Wall Street and the financial sector are all trying to figure out, well, how can we get a piece of these profits? How can we get a piece of the action? And the way it's engineered, they can't. And so they're trying to create Bitcoin futures and things like that where they can. The regulation, the only thing that they can do is to regulate the exchanges, the points where you convert cryptocurrencies into national fiat currencies. And if we start using cryptocurrencies more in exchange, where we're buying things with it, that's what's going to lead to freedom. And just playing around with it and trying to trade this cryptocurrency for that one and to try and make some speculative gains, that's not the real point here. The real point here is that we have the opportunity now to have a new world. The world monetary system is engineered to benefit a few at the expense of the many. It's engineered to transfer wealth from the average person to the people that run the game, the banks, the financial sector, and the central banks. And the cryptocurrencies undermine that, and they transfer the control of one's destiny into the hands of the individual. Instead of being a victim of what is happening, you get to be the master of your own life. And so I think that the main thing that needs to happen is, like, my company takes, we will ship you gold or silver for Bitcoin.
Yeah, great.
So, and lately there have been a lot of people doing that. So it's increasing the number of transactions. We need to get to where people are paying for dinner and buying gasoline and things like that. I own a Tesla, so I plug it into the wall. But I'd love to be able to pay for my electricity with a cryptocurrency versus a national fiat currency. Because if you've watched episode 4 of Hidden Secrets of Money, that's the one that has 6 million views, I believe. That episode shows how the monetary system is constructed and how it robs us of wealth in very, 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 it's microscopic amounts, but it's continuous. It's every second of every day, wealth is being transferred from you to the financial sector, the government, and the Federal Reserve.
Another last question. So now you see many anarchists, many libertarians, they got quite rich with cryptocurrency. Do you think they will use the money wisely?
I certainly hope so. A lot of people have gotten very rich. Bitcoin has been one of the biggest things in the history of money, the history of finance, of assets. Nothing you can't find. There's the standard media has been comparing it to the tulip mania. Well, this makes the tulip mania look tiny. This is the biggest gains in any financial asset that I know of anything in history. And it's been phenomenal. a lot of this happened because people pushed the technology forward. For a lot of other people, it was just an accident. It was dumb luck, and they think they're a genius. And so, you know, and I don't want to insult them, but learning about markets, finance, and, you know, you can, there's a lot of people have been hearing like about Bitcoin and retirees and stuff. They've just created all of these ways that you can put cryptocurrencies into your individual retirement account. And they released that right at the peak, and now we're down about 50% from the peak. And so people that, there's methods of buying where you're paying attention to technical indicators and sentiment and so on, where you want to buy when everybody else is ignoring it. And back in 2014 and 15 is when I was buying, when Bitcoin was languishing down at $250 and just noodling sideways, and nobody was interested. When everybody is interested and it's in a frenzy, that's the time to start taking some profits.
And go to gold and silver.
Well, that's what I did. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.